father!
How long?
Could be a few months, maybe less, maybe more.
Why is he so important to you?
A man that can heal himself and never dies.
Alicia healed exactly as you when she was injured. Your blood initiated an intercellular response that repaired her wound.
She's his only weakness. When you're done, bring him to me.
God, what did you do?
I found it.
Are you some kind of angel? Help! Help!
Get in!
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for No Mercy, arriving on all digital platforms on February 18th. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. Joining me to talk all things No Mercy is writer, star, producer, Ella Thomas. How are you, Ella?
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. This movie, No Mercy, it's a little bit of a sci-fi thriller, but it also has some very religious overtones to it as well. But I think it's important that we talk on these things, but also it's a palatable way, I think, for some people that may not indulge in religious films to ingest it through sci-fi, which I think is a very powerful way to just also spread messages in a lot of way, and entertainment. So I had some good times with this one, and wanted to chat with you because I think I know you're the Roaring Queen, or that's your production studio. When I did a little bit of homework on you, I know, again, you're one of the producers on this film. You also did a little bit of the story, and you have a part in here as well. How did No Mercy come to you, and why make it a project for yourself as Roaring Queen?
I'm going to work a little backwards because the whole purpose of Roaring Queen came about when I started realizing that this business is contracting. The studio system doesn't work anymore. And even independent films, when you see them going to festivals, they're all studio backed, maybe by smaller studios, but you have A24, which is a powerhouse driving kind of the independent world, where creatives are finding a home, but they come with a much bigger price tag. There's a huge marketing machine that is behind those films, and they often can afford star names. So Purdell and I had this idea years ago that we wanted to make films that creatively fed us, that creatively spoke to the stories that we wanted to tell, and carve out a niche where we got to see stories in the sci-fi realm, in this dystopian future, where we were, where we were represented. So somewhere during the pandemic, while everybody was in isolation, this idea came to Purdell. Purdell is very studied and very committed to his faith, but he also loves sci-fi. And he came up with the concept, and we all worked back and forth throughout that time. We got waylaid because of 2 strikes and, the aftermath of that. But what each of us was able to bring to that story, this story in particular, is Venice has a wonderful sense of humor, and was able to bring levity to certain areas that could get too dark. Purdell was very, was the one who kept the story on course of where he wanted the kind of tentpoles, where he's like, okay, this is where we turn. This is where the plot needs to go. And for me, being an actor, I was able to ground it in truth, ground it in what would motivate these people to act in the manner that they do. What would a man that's been alive for 600 years, who doesn't know who he is or what his purpose is, what would he be experiencing? So all of those came together into what we brought to the screen. And I love that you touched upon, because depending on where you lean, Mercy, you can find yourself in the sci-fi realm. We do consider it genre bending. There are elements of faith, but I believe that in this day and age, we need a bit of faith. We need something aspirational. The idea that we can move with grace, we can move with mercy, we can move with kindness. We don't need to be bonded by discord, dissonance, and anger and hatred. And that's why I also think that people are responding to No Mercy the way that they have.
I love that. And I love the reason why. Tell a little bit about me real quick, which brings me in front of you. Much like how the pandemic started, I'm an actor, filmmaker. And, it felt like we're at the end of the world. I got to do
the zombies are coming. The zombies are next. They may not look like what we thought they were going to look, but they're coming.
So true. So it's like, let's make history now, hence the hat. Let me show love to my fellow filmmakers. I'm not working on a project. Let me start, talking with them, which is what led me to you and many of the other amazing people I've had the opportunity to interview since the pandemic started. And now it's kind of become a full-blown side gig when I'm not acting in filmmaking. So I love that energy, because when Hollywood is the big machine that it is, and it doesn't create opportunities I will say this for myself, because I'm a person of color as well, that we'll create our own opportunities. So I love what you and Pradelle are doing and how we have now No Mercy. So as an actor as well. So you're an actor. I don't know if you've created other films. What was that like? So you and Pradelle, okay, it's a pandemic. We're going to make this happen. I'm going to throw on this producer hat. What was it like assembling the crew, getting the team together? How much did you learn along this journey to create this film and now arriving on February 18th?
It was humbling. As an actor, we are in a very privileged, protected realm. The people that are first in, first out, we never know what that burden actually is. We don't understand that we operate and get to be creative under the safety that's created by the crew and filmmakers that protect us so that we can be just immersed in the storytelling of it. Pradelle has a wonderful, wonderful crew that he brings on when he has bigger projects and who he relies on when he has smaller projects, and they show up for him. When I say they show up, they light like this might be a Marvel movie. Our sound guys do not miss a beat. We had no sound issues. And we were outdoors, we were in the streets, we were everywhere. And what I realized, what I didn't know before this whole process, was the sheer amount of pressure the producers carry. If it's a success, it goes to the director, the writer, the actors. But if it's a failure, it's on your shoulders. And that was a different realm to be in. You're always troubleshooting. It's never done. There's always a yes and but that. So I think going forward, I'm humbled. I think I've always had an appreciation. Appreciation and respect are different than humble gratitude for what I'm allowed to do because of how hard other people are working. And when I watch what our business is going through right now because of, as I said, this cataclysmic kind of shrinking, the people that make other people's dreams come true are being sidelined and marginalized. And this isn't an issue of BIPOC. This is an issue of the haves and have-nots. And that gap is getting larger and larger. And that's not what creatives were meant to be. That's not why we're in this business. We're here to endeavor to support the human spirit and storytelling. And even in what we did on this, I mean, I still can't, there's part of me that's still in disbelief that we put one foot in front of the other and we got it done. There were weeks where we didn't know where we were getting the money, and if we didn't raise enough money, we were shooting car scenes. If we were the most amount that we raised, we were able to secure the hospital, which is Heritage Studios down in Burbank. But our cast never knew what our next setup was, and they had to stay flexible. And creatively, there's a strain to that, but they always showed up ready to go. Script changes, time changes, location changes. They all stayed ready. This took us a couple of months to shoot because we would only shoot 2 days at a time. And then we would have to take a break to raise more money.
Thank you for being so open and honest about the filmmaking process. As fellow independent filmmakers, it is such a task, but we do it because we love it, and we still go at it with everything in our fiber of our being because it's what we love and we enjoy. So thank you for being so open and honest and sharing that, Ella.
I think people, and I think Purdel's experienced quite a bit of this, people self-aggrandize. And I feel like anybody that really wants to be a filmmaker should have to sit in each seat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You shouldn't have to, it's not just go be a reader for a day. You should understand your director. You should understand your DP. You should understand your first AD, because at the end of the day, it's the vision. We get a little myopic in our departments. And you can respect that. Doesn't mean that you're not staying in your lane. It's you showing up fully 100% ready so that no one has to pick up your slack. Don't be outworked in any which way. And that's the thing that I appreciated on No Mercy, is that everybody picked up, everybody showed up, everybody picked up. We all had, it would look ridiculous if we had to list all the jobs people had in the credits. But there was no slacking. Hair, makeup, clothes, my closet, my husband's closet, everything was up for grabs. Whose car had enough space for the rig? That's the car that becomes production car.
Yeah.
And what the culmination is of that is to see the hard work rewarded. Gravitas has been by our side since we weren't even in post-production yet. And they told us they liked what we were doing. They sent us an email and they stuck with us, never wavered. They just kept saying, all right, here's the trailer. They were like, yes, and all right. And then they were ready and that is the part that I think filmmakers don't understand. I understand now why so many films die on the vine. We don't know the business. We didn't know the business. I didn't know what deliverables are. We all take these courses and we go to film school. Nobody tells you what that paperwork looks like. Nobody tells you about music clearances. Nobody tells you about copyrights. All these things that you have to have in place. E&O insurance. The things all of those things go into allowing your film to come out. And it's rigorous. And that's what I say when I say it is humbling, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And if I had known, maybe I wouldn't have dove in so fearlessly and recklessly. I just did not know how to stop at that point.
Yeah.
It was the first time I got the sheet, I remember calling, and even my cousin, God bless her, who is my partner in the program, she put together a deliverables list for us, and we just tackled it one by one by one. And we learned the language. We had people that, I've been acting for a while. I had people that just believed in me personally, which was touching. And also, I'm extremely grateful because they were like, you need an attorney? Here you go. We're going to make the phone call for you. I had so many people willing to make the phone call for me. And I went, this reinforces that you don't always know how you're being perceived by the people that you encounter. We're in this business, we're on sets, we work, we're in. But that support let me know that whatever else I'm doing, I'm being a decent human being. I'm being a kind human being because people will show up for me. And I appreciate that more than anything because they don't have to. No one has to put themselves out for you like that.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing all that, Ella. It's yeah, you're knowing it and you're living it right now. It's so eye-opening when you kind of make that transition from actor to producer, filmmaker, and you get on the other side, just how much more of an appreciation you start to have for this whole process, for this thing that we love, this dream that we have. So I love that, you know, I feel you deeply in that I'm seeing it and everything you're saying is like, oh, yes. And now I can't wait to see where you're going to take this knowledge and move forward.
Because
But before we get there, go ahead.
No, but we're tribe. Yours is make history now, and mine is shift the default. We cannot expect things to change in any kind of concrete manner if the pendulum is always going to shift back to the default because the top of the pyramid isn't changing. It's theater. It's theater and lip service that we're fed. It's the equivalent of taking your shoes off at the airport. It's, oh, look at what we're doing. Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Okay, slowly, let's go back to the status quo. Because nothing really changed. It was a puppet show for a while. We'll trot a few people out. We'll be like, oh, here, but only so much. Little bit of change, but nothing that can't be taken away.
And you hit me on a lot of levels right now because the reality of the outside world at the moment and what we're going through, you're hitting me. You're laying some gems on me right now, Ella.
As I said, because we're kindred spirits, because we're tribe, because we get it. Look, I know that I operate under a certain privilege. I get that, but let's make no mistake. I know who I am. I am the daughter of immigrants. I am an Eritrean woman. I am everything on paper that the world is telling me that I'm not supposed to be. That the only way that I could be successful is with a leg up. And I find that baffling and insulting because so many of us are so embracing of differences. Fine. People can argue, but here's the thing that I keep coming back to when people say, well, I believe this and that. The main difference is that what I believe will never, ever infringe on your ability to be happy. But I believe will not take away your quality of life. And that's the main difference. There are people whose agenda works in opposition of me being able to just exist as a woman of color, as the mother of a mixed race child. You know, those are the things that I have umbrage with. It's, yes, you can have your belief, but why are you going around now dictating? Because that's what's happening. We are dictating who the moral majority gets to be. And to me, that flies in the face of everything that I was brought up to believe. And if I didn't have faith in humanity and the innate goodness of the human spirit, it would be really daunting.
Ella, you are hitting me in the head right now. I gotta tell you, because it's been a day for me. I'm gonna just pull open the closet. It's been a day.
Yes,
I live here in the
do.
DC area, and I'm sure you know what's going on in the world, obviously.
Yeah.
And it has been a day. So thank you. Thank you for sharing all of this. Let me get us to the film because they're like, are we supposed to be talking about No Mercy? But we're just dropping just people.
But we are, because doesn't it all go back to this is a man who is searching for his purpose in a world that doesn't look like what he knew or what he came from. And he finds his purpose through grace and love. That's us right now. So we're actually talking about No Mercy.
We are. We're living the message right now.
We got there.
We are living the message right now. Ella, you are amazing. I appreciate you. finding this cast as this producer. So you threw the producer hat on. I'm going to be doing this film with Purdell. Talk to me about this cast that just lit it up. Xavier Avella, just all of these people. This amazing young man right here. Tell me about finding this cast and what they gave us.
Xavier Avila. I can barely articulate the way that he showed up. When I say prepared, he gave his heart and soul, which is why he won Best Actor at the San Diego Black Film Festival. And he's been nominated along the way. And it's why the film carries his face. The scenes between him and Paul Davis, who plays Arnold, that one scene where they're in the car and and Arnold's describing to him, like trying to explain to him that he couldn't understand. They broke my heart. They are, the two of them, when you write words and then you hear them come back to you better than you could have anticipated? That happens so many times. Shaniqua, who plays Hannah, and Paul again, the moments where they have to drop into their humanity, because what I realized, everybody that we worked with, they're just great people. It wasn't, okay, I'm just going to do this, or, oh, they didn't know where we were going to end up, but we all believed that we were part of something special, that this was bigger than us. This is the first of many. And we didn't know that that's where it would go. Donald Full is so, when you hear him speak about Purdell giving him this chance, he's like, I feel like my career is in its second stage, because he's known as a comedy actor from Back to the Future. And he said he'd never gotten the opportunities to stretch beyond that. Anaya Lane, beautiful, beautiful young woman. Jahan, who plays Father Thomas, gave such levity and like this beautiful levity of being able to be present and be a voice of reason for Hanokh, but still you need humor. I feel like when things get too heavy, I don't feel like that's real. I feel like we want to laugh. We want to feel better, right?
Oh yeah. You got to break it up a little bit, wow. Yeah. Such a talented cast, and definitely shout out to Xavier, because in order to have this film, I think you really had to have a strong actor, and because we're kind of watching this trajectory as he's going through, and we're seeing the situations happen within the film, that he had to carry the weight, and he did.
And he has a timeless quality to
yes.
him.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
And at his core, he also he's an optimist. I think that's I think that's the word I was looking for. Like, we're all optimists.
Yeah.
To the point of, almost delusion. We're like, we're just going to believe that we can make a movie.
Oh yeah.
We, rather than why not, we're like, it's like, of course we can. We didn't look for the reasons why it wouldn't work. And I think that's what you have to do. I have a brilliant acting teacher. Her name is Risa Garcia Brown. She's also a casting director, does The Connor, Sealed Him, like one of the huge resume. But she always tells us to stop complicating things. If you want to write. You want to act. You want to direct. Just do it. It's very much like Yoda. There's no try. There's just do.
Just do.
She's gonna hate that I called her Yoda. It's just her phrasing of it. But yeah, it's that. And I'm so, like, even you taking the time, this means such a great deal to me personally, because that's one more person who understood what we were trying to do and is supporting, and which means that I get to support you. I get to be like, yeah, what's he doing? I'm in. That's what we want. It's like, remember back in the day when they talk about the actor studios and all those actors knew each other, Ilya Kazan and Marilyn was there, and Stella Adler, and you had Paul Newman, and they all knew each other. They were all part of the studio system. I always dreamed of that. It never occurred to me that that didn't exist for actors of color. But that's what I believe we should be and could be, where I know a great DP, I know a great writer, I know an amazing actor for you. That's what they would do. And they would write for each other. And as much as I am a sci-fi fanatic and love a good dystopian tale,
Yeah.
I do live in the aspiration of it all.
Mm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying, right?
Oh, totally. Especially when it's hard to think of the future now. And I don't want to get all gloomy and everything because of I just feel gloom. I was totally gloomy earlier today, and then now you've kind of brought me into thinking a whole bunch of different things with everything you've been saying, Ella, so far these past few minutes. It's I was in a funk, and because and I love sci-fi like you, and I loved how, and that's what we love, I think, also as people of color, because we can see and envision. It helps us dream, and but it's also hard when reality, and then when the reality got even darker in the past year and a half. Let's be real, or at least personally, that's how I feel. It's crazy. I'm sorry, I'm getting all sidetracked, but
No, but
I'm
no,
an energy. I'm an empath, which I think you are.
I was
very as
just
well.
gonna
So this
say,
energy is just everything right now. So thank you, Ella.
I'm an empath also, and this is why I have these on. It's why I have white sage. It's why you have to guard yourself. You can't be an actor and not be an empath. You can't be a creative and not be an empath. Shutting down is not an option. Otherwise, you can't do the thing that you love. But what you can do is you protect yourself. And there are days where you step away from it. And there's days because you can feel, you can take it on, but you also have to be able to let it go. And then certain days you have to go, I'm not picking that up because it's a choice. And the beautiful thing about human emotion, City, is that we change every 8 seconds. So if you don't feed it more of what it feels it wants, you can move past it. But the problem is people stay in the feeding, in mining for the information that will feed the thought process, whether it's negative or positive. So what you got to do just now, go, you know what? I'm going to stop mining. I'm going to stop mining because that is what it is. But you are an empath. I could feel that. That's why I said it. I think we were, 20 seconds in, I was like, we're tribe. We tribe.
Totally.
We're from where that assembly line of souls. I was like, I'll see you down there. All right, cool.
Hey,
25? Gotcha.
I love it. I'm gonna have to pay you this interview because this became a therapy session. So I'm gonna have to send you Cash App because this became therapy. Thank you.
Now it became kin. It became
Yes.
us reminding that as long as there's people like us,
Mm.
it's all gonna be okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All gonna be. Remember when Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek? What was happening in the world,
True.
right?
Very true.
Nichelle Nichols didn't want to do it. Martin Luther King told her, you have to stay on the show. It's bigger than you. Gene Roddenberry hid messages
Yeah.
to get past the censors. They didn't even know, and the messages were coded in. They were coded in that we are equal, that the fear with which we try to move forward will only destroy us. Dominating of another species is unacceptable. The only way to move forward is through collaboration, he did that way before his time. So from this, something else will bloom. Or the zombies are coming.
Thank you for the levity.
So we might need an exit plan. Me, I'm going to Wisconsin. Just so you know.
Ella, you are an absolute joy. Shout out to you. Thank you for that because, yeah. Well, like I said, it's been a day, and what I always go back to is like, I want to support my fellow filmmakers by act of what I'm just doing. Our existence is our resistance to what is happening. And I'm going to continue to do this and show love. And especially when it's my fellow people of color. And I want to just do all of that. But No Mercy. I love the scene where they're going through dance. I used to be a former dancer in a past life. I'm Filipino, so we dance, if you didn't know that.
Of course.
So
And then also
I love that scene.
skin. That's like there's no filter or touching up of that skin. There's like poor would die of loneliness over there. I knew.
Yeah. So shout out to that scene. And No Mercy. February 18th, y'all. Ella Thomas. Thank you for sharing your experience with this film. Another question I had was, so like you said, you said it was humbling after doing this, but did it feed the need to do it again? Are we going to have more Roaring Queen projects? Like, I know you're promoting this right now, February 18th, but like, so I'm sure there's other ideas. Like, okay, now I know how to do this. Now I can take these lessons learned and now not make those same mistakes and keep on pushing the envelope and creating opportunities for myself and opportunities for my friends and creatives that I know that are about this.
I actually am signed on to produce Sucker Punch through Roaring Queen. The writer is Neil Marshall. Our audience would probably recognize him from the film The Flamingo Kid, which was a feature he did with Gary Marshall many years ago. He, after that, went the production route. He actually recently executive produced Bill Maher's special, which just aired on HBO. But it's his ode and tribute to his late wife, and it's a beautiful script. And then on the acting front, I've signed on to Norman Lesperanza's Coyotes, which it feeds every side, like every bone of my sci-fi little body. It's just in the dystopian future, we have made it so untenable that we now have to go back to the past. Right?
Okay, and that's going to be interesting because
I'm in love with this script.
Okay.
I'm in love with this script. But that one is, I'm only going to be in front of the camera. I have a lot of respect for people that can do both, who can leave their right brain and left brain. It is so difficult, but you have to have complete trust. No Mercy was an exercise for me in letting go. And I had to leave Pradell alone, let him light, let everything, and just sit there. Because you have to let go. You can't be self-conscious in a scene and aware of the light there. That's their continuity. Was that glass half full? You have to let it all go. I didn't know if I was able to do that. I didn't. And because I was able to trust them so implicitly, I was like, oh, okay, I understand how we get films like Braveheart. I understand how, when an actor can direct and so fully immerse himself also in the project. But that's a whole nother skill set. That is none of it is easy, actually. If it was easy, everybody could do it.
True.
And there's an arrogance in thinking that you can without doing the work, because anybody can get lucky. The difference between talent and hard work is being able to repeat it. And I think that's where people rely on their talent too much, because talent will fail you at some point.
True.
If you don't have work ethic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
did that even remotely answer what you just asked me?
Well, you touched upon some of your other projects coming up, and so that definitely.
Okay, so I did.
Well, as those develop, I had such a pleasure chatting with you, Ella. Like again, like I said, I need to find out your PayPal or Cash App so I can fund you for the therapy you gave me today. But also I want to keep in touch and send you virtual flowers. Hopefully we can work on a set again together, because I do go out to LA and do quite a bit of work.
And you have to hit me up. You have to hit me up when you're here.
Definitely.
So we can do this in IRL.
I love that. I would be honored. Such a pleasure chatting with you, Ella. Thank you for your time. Congrats to you and your entire team, because like you said, it takes a village to do. I always say that a lot of, the big budget films, they give the main names, but it takes an entire village of people to put together that piece of work. And you know this from now doing No Mercy. So shout out to you and everyone on the team behind No Mercy. Dropping on digital platforms February 18th. Ella Thomas, you are a joy. I would love to have you back to talk of everything you're doing and just have that therapy. Man, you made my heart feel good after such a day. Everybody, Ella Thomas, thank you so much.
And thank you for your support. It's appreciated from the bottom of my heart.
Definitely. No Mercy drops February 18th on all digital platforms. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. All right. Recording. And I'm gonna count us in and we'll get right into it. Here we go. In a 1, 2, 3.
Pleasure chatting with you. Love to all my nerds who rule the world.
Nerds rule the world.
Yes, we do.
Thanks. Nerds rule the world. Thank you.
I love the nerds ruling the world, so more power to you.
Patrick, what up, man? And yes, they do. Nerds rule the world, kid.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Awesome. Kuya P, Nerds Rule the World. Hello. Yes, they do.
Yes.
Oh,
Nerds rule the world.
I got.
It's in the title of your show, like Nerds Rule the World. Like, I want more black weirdos on screen, and I don't feel like we ever get to see that very much.
Thank you so much. Nerds do rule the world.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nerds Rule.
Love it.
It's your boy Kuya P, Nerds Rule the World. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
do. They rule the world all right.
Yes. Take care, Tony. Thank you, guys.